Hey, welcome back. So, big news in the Panama world right now. Last night we got some updates and from the forums that we belong to. They, I wasn't gonna bring this topic up until later on, until we were going through the process of getting our visa. But since this is it's actually kind of a big thing. It's not huge to us completely, but in a way it kind of is. So I'm going to go through it now, and then of course when we actually go through the process, if we do go through the process, like I said, we don't know if Panama is for us yet. So the visa that we were going to go for was the Friendly Nations visa. And I'll just go over a few things. When you watch this, all this information will probably be obsolete. But so this is more for family and friends, because I'm assuming that they're probably not going onto websites and seeing what you have to do to go through to actually live in Panama. So to qualify for this visa, and I want to mention that this is one reason why we chose Panama as a country. There are other countries where some places you have to denounce, I think that's the word, denounce your citizenship for the US in order to get a residency in their country. And we definitely didn't want to do that. So in this visa is, I want to say, easy to obtain. However, easy is kind of a loose term. I mean, there is a lot of paperwork that you have to go through and a bunch of steps. You have to hire a lawyer. And so, but it's one of the easier ones to obtain versus other countries. So to qualify for this visa, as of yesterday, you have to be one of, I wrote some notes down, so if I'm looking down, that's why. You have to be a national of one of the 50 countries that they consider a friendly nation. And the US is one of them. So we're good on that part. And then you had to establish economic or professional ties with the country. You have to show proof of your finances and that you can financially be okay, and then provide required supporting documents. Like I said, there's quite a bit of documents that they require, and pay all the required fees for the applications and stuff like that. So like I said, US is one of them, so we don't have to worry about that. And so establishing economic or professional ties, you had a few different options for that one. You could own a Panama corporation or be hired by one. And then another one was to invest in real estate, and it had to be at least $100,000 or more. And then there were other ones where you can own a corporation, which is the one that we were gonna consider doing, and I think a lot of expats actually do that one, because all this really entails is putting $1,000 towards a corporation, and it took about 3 to 7 days to complete. At the end of, once you got your permanent residency, you could just get rid of the corporation, and that usually took about a week. So that's usually the route that a lot of people go. And then the finances, you're just showing proof of your finances. To do that, you have to open a bank in Panama, and you have to open a banking account in Panama, and with at least $5,000. And of course, this is your money, and when the you get your permanent residence, you can always get rid of that bank account. But it also has to be a registered bank within Panama. We were kind of looking, and that's what we were kind of looking at before with the banking, if we could actually do that now. But so anyway, that, and then the documents, there's like a whole bunch of supporting documents that you need, like over 10. And then the total cost of all of this is about $10,000, and that does include that $5,000 that, of course, you're putting into a bank, and you're going to get that back, because that's your money. So yeah, and then after all of this, after all that application is and the paperwork is completed, they will give you a temporary residency or temporary resident visa, and which is good for about 6 months. And so in that 6 months, you'll within 3 to 6 months after that, that you'll get your permanent resident card, a visa. And so now, as of yesterday, these are the changes that they made. So they did remove someone from a country from that list, Taiwan. So if you're from Taiwan, you can no longer apply for this visa. So that doesn't apply to us. Thank you. So the other one was that temporary resident visa. Before, you had it for 3 to 6 months until your permanent visa came in. Now it's 2 years. So that kind of brings up quite a few questions, and we're not quite sure on where that kind of stands. You do have to go through the process, and so you're holding a temporary visa for 2 years until you can get your permanent residency. So the next one is you have 2 options for the economic or professional activity. So before, there were a few different options that you can choose, and then, like I said, the one that we were gonna do was creating a business, and then eventually just kind of getting rid of that business. Now that option is no longer available. So the only 2 that you can choose from are being employed by a Panama employer or investing in a house. And this house has to be $200,000 or more, which is a huge change from what it was before. And so if you plan on renting in Panama, that's really no longer an option if you're an expat wanting to come in. So this all takes effect on August 5th. And so so I asked Gail last night, I'm like, well, do we want to book a ticket for this weekend and go down and visit the law office and start the process? But of course we decided not to do that, because like I said, we're not leaving until September, a month after this takes effect. And so we have a lot of unanswered things, but yeah, so we're just gonna kind of go with the flow. And like I said, we don't even know if we want to live there yet. So just wanted to bring that up in this video, and we'll see what happens with all of it. Maybe we won't even want to stay in Panama. So until next time.